All right, Jenn Kennedy, welcome to Bullpen Sessions. How the heck are you?
I am so good. I love being on podcasts where someone's energy can like match mine. I'm like, yes, Andy. Like, yeah, it's like 3 PM. No, we did not drink coffee. We're just excited to be here.
Yes, and I have to admit, knowing you were coming on, I knew I was going to have to ramp up my energy. So it's all about influence.
Noted. I
All
noticed.
about
I'm impressed.
influence. So Jenn, for the audience that's listening in that has no idea who you are,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from? What are you up to? What are you doing? What makes Jenn tick?
Yeah, I love it. All right. So, hi, guys. Jenn Kennedy here. If you really knew me, you'd know my name's Jenna. And the reason why I went with Jenn Kennedy with two N's when I became an entrepreneur is because I actually was interviewing to become a principal the same time I started my first business, which was a nutrition coaching business. And in the interviewing process, I was like, gosh, if they Google me, they're going to find me like on Instagram and posting testimonials. And so I decided to cut the A off and just go with Jenn. And then I stuck with it because it kind of, it kind of goes well. So if you knew me, you'd know that. But no, I'm an entrepreneur. I always say, no matter where my business is at, I'm an entrepreneur first. I strongly believe that entrepreneurs see a problem and they try to solve it no matter what. And so I'm an entrepreneur first. Right now, I'm a business mentor. Previously, I was a nutrition coach. I live in Michigan, live in the Midwest, and my husband and I, secrets out once I say this, we're looking to leave the Midwest. We are both born and raised here in Michigan, but I'm going to be honest, I'm getting a little sick of the winters and I'm just need a little bit more sunshine in my life. We have a dog child named Roxy. And if I could, what makes me tick would probably be rescuing hundreds of more dogs, but I know that that's not possible in my life right now. And yeah, I strongly believe that when we what really makes me tick, I love that you asked that question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that question as an adult, but what really makes me tick, I think, is just helping people in any way that I can. I mean, every business that I've done, everything that I've done in my life to make income, to make money has been always driven by impact. And I just strongly believe that we're all put on this planet for a specific reason. And I really think that's mine. And I love every second of it.
Well, and we're going to get into early part of your career where were absolutely teaching people.
Yeah.
You and I know each other because we were in the same mastermind. We've met and talked. I consider you a friend, but we don't know each other that well. What you just said now makes us that much closer. Why? Because Amy and I are from Wisconsin. We spent the first 38 years of our lives there, got absolutely sick of the winters there. And so we moved to Colorado 6 years ago. And people are like, but you moved to Colorado. I'm like, you don't get it. Like, you don't know what it's like to have 2 straight weeks of gray weather, gray skies.
Seriously. And so, maybe snowy one day and then maybe 75 degrees the next. And the Midwest is weird.
Yes. So any insight as to where you guys might go?
Okay, my husband keeps saying, Jenn, you're all over the map. And it's so true. Like, I'll just pull up the map and I'm like, oh my God, Austin, Texas. And he's like, we've never been. I'm like, but I've heard great things. Or I'll be like, Colorado Springs. He's like, you still never been. I'm like, no, you're right. And then recently I've been looking at North Carolina. California is always on the list. I'm literally all over the map. So if anyone has suggestions, slide into my DMs and give them to me, please.
Hey, my quick suggestion, since you're going to want to leave the Midwest, sun, absolutely number one.
Yeah.
You can avoid the humidity as well.
I know, the humidity. Yeah.
One thing we don't miss ourselves. So, well, awesome. Let's go to your early part of your career, Jenn.
Yeah.
Today, you're an entrepreneur, very successful business owner, but that wasn't always the case. You started your career, your adult business career, going down a different path. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, completely. So from the time that I was a child, I always knew I was going to be a teacher. It was just, I loved helping people. So what was the 2 options growing up was a nurse or a teacher, was kind of just the 2 options that people presented to me. And I don't like blood or taking care of people in the hospital. So I was like, oh, a teacher would be great. So went to school, became a teacher, got hired in an amazing district. It's like one of those districts that everybody wants to be in, and started my career there. I was a kindergarten teacher. I was a special ed resource room teacher, an interventionist, a first grade teacher. But really the second that I got hired as a teacher, I was like, oh, nope, this isn't it. This is not it. I know it's not it, because I wanted to help more people. And I looked at the little kiddos in my classroom and I was like, these kids, there's 21 of them, right? There's 21. I want to be able to help more. And so in my mind, the only way to help more people was to go back and get 2 degrees that I'll chat about in a second, and to become a principal. And so I went back to school. I got a master's and an ed specialist degree, which is a doctoral level degree in leadership and administration. And I was learning organizational leadership, admin, how to run a school. And I was actually running the school. My principal was gone. I was running every professional development that we had in our school for about 6 years. And that was just my path. I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to climb up the ladder. I'm going to make more impact, and I'm going to make more money because, well, you're a principal, you're running a school, you're making 6 figures. And that was my path. And so for 8 years, that was it. I was grinding, I was teaching, I was tutoring, and I was working my tail off in grad school, becoming, trying to climb up the ladder and become a principal. And I was listening to Bedros Keuilian. And this was years ago, probably 2-3 years ago. I was listening to Bedros Keuilian, and I stopped dead in my tracks. And my husband and I were at the gym, and I listened to podcasts at the gym, and I stopped and I put the weights down, and my jaw just dropped. And he's like, "What is it?" And I'm like, he just said, "Stop wasting your life trying to climb up someone else's ladder and build your own." And I was like, oh, and it was in that moment that I realized I was just trying to climb up someone else's ladder. That's all I was doing. And I was like, this is not okay for me. And around the same time, I stumbled into entrepreneurship. And it was in that moment that I was like, I actually realized what's actually possible as an entrepreneur. And I realized I can still help people, and I can, have the income and live the life of freedom and all of the things. And that's really when I started to pivot into entrepreneurship. But every single second of everyone always asks, Andy, they're like, how happy were you to leave teaching and not do it anymore? I'm like, I loved every second of it. I was a really good teacher. I loved being a part of the community. Every day kids were running up to me Mrs. Kennedy. I miss the hugs of it, little kids giving you hugs. But I just found this path that I was meant to be on. And that's way more fulfilling, way more fun. And I mean, honestly, let's be honest here. We're entrepreneurs. We want to make more money. And so it's a lot better for that as well.
Well, and it's interesting because there's so much to unpack in that statement or those comments you made about teaching, right? Because on one hand, we talk about freedom. That's one reason people become entrepreneurs, right? Is they want a little freedom. But then you could argue, well, as a teacher, you get summers off, right? You work 9 months out of the year. And what you just said, though, was it can't be missed, because the same applies to the business world. Why did you go back to school to get your master's degree, your additional ed degree, to become a principal? Could we not say that's the same thing as climbing the corporate ladder in a way?
Oh, same exact thing. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Where somebody in the business world, in the corporate world, is trying to climb up the ladder. So they spend so much time and so much effort getting the letters behind their name, getting the additional educational credits to make that happen. Yeah. But in the end, you still found out this isn't what I wanted to do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so many people, Jen, are stuck going, but I spent all that time on education.
I was just going to say that. I was just going there and you took it. Yeah.
So what's your advice? What's your advice to that person sitting here right now, whether they're a teacher, a principal, or in the business world, and they're going, man, I know there's something else out there for me, but I have spent all this time on educating myself to become better at what I do today. What's your advice?
So funny that you say that. My husband and I were just having this conversation. So honestly, okay, so the 4.5-year degree of my undergrad degree, I was fine leaving. I mean, let's be honest, none of us use that degree anyway, right? I was fine leaving that. But the thing that I actually had a hard time with was that right there. So I put myself through grad school. I grew up, we did not have money growing up. My parents could not send me to college. I was undergrad loans, and I worked really hard to pay those off. And so the concept of getting into more loans in grad school, I couldn't do it. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So not only did I get those 2 postgraduate degrees, which were master's and a doctoral level degree, but I paid for them out of my pocket. I tutored 15 to 20 hours a week in addition to teaching so that I could pay for those. So I even had an additional layer of my job didn't pay for those degrees. I had my money tied to those degrees. So I had a hard time at first. And then I stopped and I was like, wait a second. Those 2 degrees, they were leadership and administration, organizational leadership and administration. The first degree, the master's, it opened my eyes up to professional development or into personal development. Because what it did was it primed me as who am I as a leader. And as an entrepreneur, what are you? You're a leader. Whether you choose to lead men, women in business and like in nutrition, whatever it is, you are a leader, and a leader's job is to unlock the greatness in the people that follow them or that buy their services. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. That's exactly what I'm doing as an entrepreneur. But then the other side of things is I looked at it and I said, what are my goals is for my business? Like my goals for my business are to scale it, to grow it, to add in multiple things. All of that is leadership. And when I realized that my degrees weren't, this is a hard one because this is what we do as humans. My degrees weren't these things that I collected. Those degrees made me the woman that I am today. When I realized that, I was like, oh, I'm so glad to leave that job then. Like I'm okay leaving that job because those degrees made me who I am. And guess what? I use them every single day. And I actually use them in my business daily. And I teach the entrepreneurs that I work with all about it as well. So when I realized that they just became a part of who I was, then I was like, oh, this is great. This is perfect. But the other side of that is that you have to be so unapologetic about your journey and the path that you take. I had people every day. I had teachers every day asking the same thing. You're really going to give up your summers off? Like seriously? Yep. Do you know how hard you've worked? Like, I can't believe you're actually doing this. I had friends, I had family, people the closest to me say, you're making the biggest mistake of your life, Jen. And I had to be so unapologetic with thanks, but no thanks, because this is the path that I'm going to take. So it's really twofold, realizing that your degrees are a part of who you are and they've taught you something and they will serve you. If you don't know how, it will serve you, but then also being so unapologetic about your path because it's your path. It's no one else's.
Well, and there's two routes somebody can go there. The one side is you spent all that money on a master's degree and you're not using it now. So you wasted money. Mm-hmm. The other side, what I would call the abundant side, says, you know what? But it was within getting your master's degree, you learned what personal development was.
Oh, yeah.
Which is now what you use and you teach constantly. So that investment in that master's degree, no matter how much it was, the fact you don't use it anymore, it was worth it because it was a building block to where you are right now. Now, I want to ask you a question because, again, another tie between us, I think. Could you say going back 5-10 years ago that Jen, we knew back then, feared money more than she does now?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay.
It ran my life.
Same here. Okay. Mm-hmm. When you made that decision in the gym, honey, like, I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
Was there a little, when you realized that when you start your own business, become the entrepreneur, it's all on you now. No one's cutting you a paycheck. How did that feel?
Well, I had to do a lot of money mindset work and a lot of, I don't think a lot of people are talking about, there's money mindset, which is like all the rage right now. Yep. But really what we're not talking about is our relationship with money because it's not necessarily, it's a mindset and it's a relationship, just like with a spouse. And so I had to do work on both before I could even consider leaving my job. Like before I even could consider it. Like it was money mindset. And this is thanks to the masters, money mindset, self-development. If you're an entrepreneur and you're not doing those things, then you're not going to make it as an entrepreneur. Like I'm going to call a spade a spade. I have to. People think, oh, I'm going to get into business. I'm going to do all this stuff. And it's like, you know that the foundation, the root of that is you. And if you're not growing your money mindset and your relationship with money, and you are not completely working on developing yourself and growing with your business, you're only going to have temporary success. And so I realized that very early on because what I did is I found myself terrified to charge a certain amount of money or terrified that a client was going to leave. Or I would still, you know what, Andy, this is my favorite story ever to share, is that when I had my first 5-figure month, I was so happy. So I did a lot of work and then I was like, oh, I'm good. Ready? Like I checked the box. I'm fine. I'm good. I had my first 5-figure month over a year ago. And I called my husband up to the office and I was like, Pat, I had look it says $10,000 this month. It was in my Stripe account, He's like, Jen, that's amazing. Where's the money? And I looked at him and I was like, savings. Andy, I had no idea where the money was. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So many people think when I make more money, all my financial problems are solved. And the reality is trust me, don't do it yourself. Please don't do it yourself, you guys. Don't take it from me. Trust me, it's not the case. We have to do that money mindset work and that money relationship work first and during our journey in order to really be successful.
Are you sure we're not related?
Yeah.
I mean, just listening to you right now, I'm going, yep, that's me. Yep, that's me. Because I started my coaching business about almost a year ago, June 1st. Yeah. And 2 years ago, I would never have been able to start that business, because if you ask me why did you do it or what allowed you to start the business, it was 100% based on money mindset, improving that, and going to work on myself. Had I not put literally my 4 or 5 years into self-development, there's no way I would have been able to start the business. Absolutely not.
No. And I think a lot of people, it's very obvious that, Andy, you work with a ton of entrepreneurs and you're involved in a lot of masterminds. I would be willing to bet, you guys, I'm making this statistic up, so do not quote me on this one, but I would be willing to bet that 98% of entrepreneurs go into entrepreneurship actually coming from a place of scarcity and fear of, I have to do it. I'm going to prove myself. And it actually, that the reason why is rooted in fear and scarcity. And when it is, it's going to, whatever your definition of failure is going to be, it's going to happen. We have to shift that relationship to one of abundance so that you can live out your purpose and have the money in which you want to have, and which honestly you deserve to have.
Well, and that's just it. I would, again, call a spade a spade. I'm going to be direct. If you are building a business out of fear and that lack of loss, you're done. Like you're not going to really make much of it, and you're going to give up well before you should. And honestly, a rule to be on this podcast, you got to have an abundant mindset. So Jen, that's why you're here. Yeah. Okay. So the other thing too, that's so interesting with entrepreneurship, and it is a cliche word today, let's be honest. Yeah. It's cool now, right?
Oh, it's so cool.
But people hear you at a five-figure month, six-figure month, which we're about to talk about. Yeah. They think that all of a sudden you have $50,000 going in your savings account. Yeah. No. It's called top line revenue. You still have a business to run. Yeah. There's still expenses. So it's not all the glory that some people, I think, make it out to be. But at the end of the day, a 5-figure, 6-figure month is absolutely huge. So you go into the entrepreneurial world, you start your business, and you start as a nutritionist, right? Yeah. Which has morphed now over what, 3-4 years?
No, a year and a half.
Year and a half. Wow. Yeah. Into what we see today. So let's talk about your business today, Jen. Who do you serve? What are you doing?
Yeah. So I was a nutrition coach for about a year and a half. And then I just recently completely pivoted. So I saw, truly, it was when COVID-19 hit and when the economy, or the recession, whatever you want to call it, started to really begin. And I realized that there was a huge need. There was a huge problem. And the problem was that there were all these entrepreneurs who were coaches or mentors, people who wanted to help people, and they wanted to grow their impact, but they didn't quite know how. They wanted to scale. They're like, I want to grow my impact. I want to scale my income 6 figures beyond, but they were stuck. They were like, I'm doing all the things, but it's not working. And I realized how many entrepreneurs were struggling, especially during this time. And so I made a hard right-hand turn, as I call it, in my business. And I saw the need, saw the problem. And I truly wrote it all down. I was like, all right, how can I solve these problems for these people? Like, how can I really help them and solve these problems, recession-proof their business, grow their impact and scale their income? So I came to the Impact to Income Academy, which is where I teach entrepreneurs, coaches, mentors, people who are really driven by impact and service. I teach them how to do just that, how to grow their impact, scale their income, live the life that they want, build their business to 6 figures and beyond. So my academy, it's a 12-week academy. And what it is there's 3 pillars, I believe, of a successful online business. The first pillar is leadership. Yep. Did you guys hear that? Leadership. Thank you for those degrees. I realized how much leadership is missing in entrepreneurship. That's really what we're all doing, is being leaders. So we have to build that leadership first, monetize our strengths, work in our zone of genius. The second pillar is money, like all things money and finances. And the third pillar is all things strategy, but not strategy in a way of just do these things and it'll work. It's doing strategy in a way of what works best for you and for your business and for your ideal clients. And so that's what I'm currently doing. I business mentoring and helping people really grow their impact. Because I strongly believe, I coined that. Again, guys, I make up a lot of things, but it fits, okay? I made this up. The universal law of entrepreneurship is the more people that you impact, the more money that you make. That's it. If you impact a small amount of people, you're going to make a small amount of money. If you impact a large amount of people, you're going to make a large amount of money. And so I saw that correlation and I realized that that's what people really want. And now I get to help people do just that.
So important to understand that. One of my favorite mentors I've never met, Jim Rohn, said that famously. You want to get paid more, bring more value, which means you have to impact more people.
Yep.
And so what's exciting, Jen, about your story is here you are, you've got Impact Income University.
Academy, but same thing.
What did you say?
I said it's an academy, but same thing.
Oh, Academy University. I apologize. But you adapted to the situation, you created the program, and just last month, you had a 6-figure month.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
Anybody can do anything right now. And I don't say that as a cut on you, Jen. I say that we don't have excuses anymore. You literally pivoted, adapted to the moment, created a program that helps people right now, and you had a 6-figure month. How does that feel?
Yeah. Unreal. It still feels amazing. I truly, so how does it, it's funny. Chris Harder asked me that. We were talking, he goes, how does that feel? I go, I don't know how this feels. Like so many emotions. It feels amazing, honestly. It really solidifies the belief that I have as an entrepreneur, which is just that if you can solve people's problems, like they're real problems, not they're like, I just want to lose 5 pounds or make more money. No. If you can solve their real problems, if you can guide them, if you can truly impact people, you can make any amount of money that you want to make. Like that's just the reality of it. And so it makes me happy to be able to live out that message because it's such a strong belief in me. And it makes me so incredibly happy and excited to just continue to show people that moving forward, right? Like I am all about full transparency. That's why I'm like, yeah, share anything. Tell them about the 6-figure month. Hell yeah. Because I want people to see like, whoa, she's not that much different than me, or he's not that much different than me. If she can do it, I can do it. And Andy, that was the first realization I think as an entrepreneur when I realized I was going to be massively successful. I was sitting next to Kat Golden, who you know, and we were at our first ever professional or personal development. It was Angie Lee's Pace to Be Brave event. And I'm sitting next to her. It's our first time I've ever been to an event like that. And I looked at her and I just kind of had this look on my face like, what's the deal here? And she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm not impressed. And she's like, what? And not that Angie Lee's a very impressive human. Yeah. I adore her, but I looked at her, I'm like, they're just like us, but they've been doing it longer and they've never given up despite the fear.
Yeah. You can do it. I can do it too.
Yeah. And so like, that's like what I really love to bring is like last year at this time, 1 year ago, I was wrapping up a classroom. That's it. 1 year ago. You can do anything if you do it for the right reason. If you grow and develop yourself and if you crush that money mindset, like you can do anything.
Yep. And if you want to make more money, solve bigger problems.
God, yes.
And so who would be an ideal candidate for the Academy?
Yeah. Any entrepreneur who they've been in entrepreneurship for a little bit, like, you know, they've got some clients, they've got some stuff under their belt. They're like, yeah, I got this. But they're like, but how do I scale? How do I grow? How do I scale? How do I impact more people? Also, the ideal client is somebody who, a major block that I hit in my life, not like about 9-10 months ago, was, wait a second. Am I building my life around my business, or am I building my business around my life? Yep. What we do as entrepreneurs is we get addicted to the fact that we can just work more and make more money. It's really wild. But are you living the life in which you want to live? Because if not, then just go back to climbing up someone's ladder.
Yeah, I always find it funny, entrepreneurs who talk about being addicted to the grind. It's like, what did you trade off? You left the corporate world where you complained about the grind to have the grind in the entrepreneurial world. Was that worth it?
Right. And you're not connected with your family. You haven't seen your friends in so long. Like, why do we do what we do? I think our why has to be what I do in the Academy is I have them set their goals, like for their business of number 1, first things first is your lifestyle goal. What do you want your life to look like? Yep. And then number 2 is your impact goal. Who do you want to impact and how? Yep. And then number 3 is your revenue goal. We all start with, I want to make $100,000 this year.
Yep.
No. You're doing it backwards. Like you're doing it way backwards. Always start with your lifestyle goal and then go to your impact goal and then your revenue goal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Couple questions to wrap up. Right now, I got a lot of readers who listen in. What's your favorite book? What's the number one book you recommend right now?
Ooh. Top book that changed my entire life in the beginning of my business and throughout my business was The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker.
It's done it for a lot of us, especially if you've got a money mindset issue.
Yes.
You know you need to improve your relationship with money. Please do yourself a favor and read that book. You will not be disappointed.
Which we all need it because whatever it's a new level, new devil too, right? Like you hit your first four-figure month, new level, new devil. You hit your first four-figure month, like, oh no, I got it. No, you don't, because you're gonna hit you're gonna hit the five-figure month, and you better have the tools and the strategy and the mindset to take that on. So that book is incredible. I read it all the time. I think I've read it like 5 times.
I was just gonna say it's one I try to read once a year.
Yep.
If not, maybe twice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Jen. So if somebody wanted to reach out, they're going, yep, you just described me. I think I need, the Impact to Income Academy. How can they reach out to you?
Yeah. Instagram. I'm always there. The Jenn Kennedy on Instagram is where I'm always at. You could email me, but I'm not even going to give it to you because I check my Instagram than my email. I love Instagram. You guys, I'm a human. You too, Andy. I'm a human connection human. I love connecting with people. Yep. And Instagram is the best because it's the way in which we are able to connect with more people. So always on the
And it just so everybody listening in, Instagram doesn't have to be your platform.
No.
But at the end of the day, whatever it is your platform, whether it is Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, use it.
Yeah.
It's the way humans are connecting with humans. And oh, by the way, it's free.
Yeah. It's free.
All right. Last piece of advice. Someone's sitting out there and they're in that job right now. They may like it. They may not. They know there's something bigger out there for them. What is your last piece of advice for them?
Listen to your gut. Your gut always knows. If your gut is telling you that there's something else, don't be afraid of it and take the leap. Like that's it. Like don't be afraid. Listen to your gut. Don't be afraid of it and take the leap. You will never, ever, ever regret it.
So Jenn, there's a reason I wanted to have you on. 1, because you're cool as hell. Number 2, I hope the audience soaked in what you said. A freaking year ago, you were a teacher. And you had been a teacher for 8 years.
8 years. Mm-hmm.
Trying to aspire to be a principal because you wanted to make more impact. You just realized, education, I love education. I just don't love it in this setting.
Yep.
But now I've got this thing out there called entrepreneurship. And the thing I want to stress is entrepreneurship is not the destination. Mm-hmm. It is the journey, the vehicle that gets you to whatever your destination is.
Yeah.
And because you found a way to impact more lives via entrepreneurship, here you are crushing a business a year and a half later, just had a 6-figure month. My point is this. You don't have any excuses. No one has excuses right now. Even if you're a teacher and you want to stay teaching, guess what? COVID just taught us. Holy crap. I can educate more people online at one time.
Yeah. 100%.
Have more impact, bring more value. You will make more money. Can't make it that easier. So Jenn, one last time, I just want to say thank you. This was awesome.
Thank you. I loved it. It's been amazing. I could talk to you all day, Andy.
And likewise. And if you're out there listening in, I hope you took a bunch of notes. Please, if you enjoy this podcast, go subscribe, give it a 5-star rating. And if you know anybody who could use this type of information, this type of content, I hope you share with them. And last, but certainly not least, you know what happens when clarity and confidence collide. Action happens. Go make it happen today.